Last year this time, I blew my shoulder out bench pressing, and content creator Handsom and Profit Fear turned me onto a lift that they coined the Handsom press. Now for context, I'm on video competing at Worlds last year, and my shoulder, you can see it come out of the socket completely. Turn to that in a minute, but first I want to go over what I'm doing here. Now, the Handsom press is an extreme range of motion behind the back press, and a lot of people can't even get into that position. So I always say start with a broomstick, or in this case a 20-pound standard bar, and just work the shoulders back. And it might take you a while to just get the mobility to where you can even get the flexibility to get into this move. So I start really slow, and I'll just, 10 minutes a day, just work those shoulders back. The other added benefits besides, shoulder rehab is it makes getting under the squat bar a lot easier, or I imagine it'd be great for Olympic lifting. But when you get to that point, I start with super lightweight, and you can see this range of motion right there. Now, another press I like to do is the 3-part, where I basically do an upright row, and I'll swing the shoulders into a press. So it's basically up, 2, press, 3. And I do a strict rotation through the shoulders. So those are the 2 lifts that I do. I started doing the Handsom press with a camber bar, because the camber gives you that little extra lip that goes around your back. For those that are having problems with range of motion, it just gives you a little extra to work with. Now, is it as effective as doing it with a straight bar? I don't feel like I'm losing anything, and I can go a little bit heavier. So if you're strictly wanting to use this movement for hypertrophy, actually growing your shoulders, that's something to consider as well. But for me, it was just all about shoulder rehab. Now, when my arm came out of the socket, it was like Velcro ripping. Of course, my arm turned purple. And guys my age, 49, when they tear their shoulders like that, what do you hear at the gym? Oh, I used to bench. Back in the day, I used to bench, and I can't anymore because I tore my shoulder. Or they can bench, but they can't raise their arms above their head. They have no range of motion. Well, here I am a year later, and I have not lost any strength. Matter of fact, I might even be able to beat my previous numbers. And on top of that, I have better range of motion than I had before I started doing these. And these are the only 2 lifts I do for shoulder rehab. So, something to consider, guys. 49 years old, I'm 100% back. On top of those 2 lifts, some of the things I've also been doing is rotating the bars that I use. I'll switch from the straight bar to the football bar to the camber bar when I'm doing my bench workouts, and I'll kind of rotate them, which changes, the grip up and kind of steers you away from the dangers of repetitive motion. Being in the same groove all the time, I think, can contribute to injury. So those 2 lifts, and on top of mixing up the variations, and I am every bit as strong as I was before I injured myself last year. And for all intents and purposes, that should have been a career-ending injury without surgery or intervention. And I haven't had to do anything except for those movements